Dan, have you ever wanted an app that collates all the scores and news from your favourite teams in the whole of Europe, Dan? Have you ever wanted that?
Is a constant need of mine, mate, because there's always news. That's the thing, is that we love this game. We love the industry of football because it's ever changing, mate, and you need a place to keep up with it all.
And we have that place exactly for you guys.
Do,
it's One Football. Guys, this app is genuinely, it's life-changing.
It's great because I use it. So it's great because it's where I pull the stats from for the podcast. So it's like there's all that new stuff as well, but you can track all of the players' stats from like across Europe for all the different leagues, for continental football as well. It's a dream. It's a dream. And the best part, mate, is it's free.
It's free, and guys, it would help support the channel massively if you check that One Football using the link in the description down below. We promise you guys won't be disappointed. Hello and welcome back to the Villa Filler podcast, the evening after the last. And of course, I am here as always with my good friend, Dan Wiseman. Dan, I mean, like literally within minutes of us, hopping on Zoom to sit down and record this, we've been gifted the best, belated Christmas present I think anyone could ask for in the pictures of Philippe Coutinho holding the shirt. They've confirmed the number 23. Let's get all the good stuff out of the way first, mate, because I know both of us were certainly coming on here in a far fouler mood before we send this news.
Yeah, it's the worst timed good news I've ever had, because I had to say my piece, man. You know me. I'm never too angry on this podcast, man. I always try and stay measured. I don't like talking about referees, but like today I had to say my piece, man. I had a lot to say. I was so angry with yesterday, and I had it all pent up. I managed to like uphold it all day, keep it through me. I was like, no, I've got to say it. I'm going to say it on the pod. And then just as we're coming on that, they dropped the Coutinho interview, the shirt, and it's like, I'm now coming on this pod with a massive fucking smile on my face. Excuse my language. And I didn't want to. I wanted to be pissed off at this. But yeah, I'm sure as soon as we get going, mate, I will get back to it.
I think we all will. It's one of them ones. I wouldn't be surprised if not too many people watch this podcast, Dan, because we generally have that trend of when Villa do bad, people don't really tend to watch, which is fine. But for what will potentially be quite a cathartic sort of 20 minutes of ranting and raging, which I'm sure we've all done last night, and we both did in the ground last night as well, Dan. I really felt. I mean, first of all, Coutinho, wow, amazing. Number 23, in case you guys haven't seen. Really excited with that one as well. Just while we're on the topic of transfers, it looks like Luca Dean is advancing as well, Dan, which is really exciting. They're talking about agreeing a 4.5-year deal. Again, fantastic news. Hopefully this one gets done and over the line before the rematch. There's going to be a lot in this rematch, Dan. Certainly based off what we saw, what was on the pitch last night, the events that occurred. And it's a shame, Dan, because a fine sort of 70 to 80 minutes of football has been completely marred by shocking officiating, controversial, to put it politely, use of VAR, and just in all an absolute shocking display and a shocking advert for English football and how we officiate the game over here, mate.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, it's one of those where, you know what, man. I think before we go into the technicalities and what was wrong with the goal being rolled out and everything like that, I think the one thing, and I turned to Chloe. I was watching the game with my girlfriend. I turned to her. I was like, it's always United. That's what's the most annoying, isn't it? It's because it's every game with these guys. It's like we just can't seem to catch a break whenever we play them. Every time we play well and we deserve to get something out of it, maybe. And it's just every time with these guys. And it's the Liverpool thing with the Salah, penalty, wasn't it? Like that stuff comes and goes because it's like, but with Man United, it's every game. Right? You sort of like, you're going into this one at the weekend with optimism. Definitely, because we put up such a good fight yesterday at their place, and it feels like with the atmosphere, especially if Philippe's on the pitch, man, the atmosphere of that game, what it means for Stevie, for Felipe, you know, for the fans after that game, especially if Ronaldo's playing for United as well, mate. You can bring your dinner to that one. It will be amazing, and you feel like there's optimism, but there's just those things in your head like it can't happen again. We can't be screwed over by this again, mate. Surely, because it's so frustrating because you're so helpless to it all, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, one of the earliest memories of this corruption was, for me, the Carling Cup final, mate, 2009. That's ever since then that, you know, it's been clear as day. These lads get exactly what they want, exactly when they need, exactly when they need it. It makes me sick that Nemanja Vidic wasn't sent off in that game. And if I'm honest, I feel equally as sick that Luke Shaw managed to stay on the pitch for 90 minutes yesterday. And now I know Luke Shaw will be suspended for our game, as well as Scott McTominay for accumulating too many yellow cards, which is a shame, really, because, you know, if I'm John McGinn, if I'm Ezri Konsa, if I'm whoever, I'm going right through the back of him on minute one, set the tempo. That's what needs to be done with this lot. And it's so frustrating. Like, I don't think we can sit here and analyse the game, Dan, because genuinely, we absolutely battered them. Like, there is nothing that the highlights will not portray that we cannot, you know, explain, analyse, dissect for you guys, that doesn't say Aston Villa should have comfortably won this game. And it's not, we didn't even lose this game. You know, I think that there are a few occasions, Dan, you know, certainly under Gerrard, where you could say that there's been sort of 10, 15 minutes that have been our undoing, one or two things. People are trying to point fingers for McTominay's goal, but it's a well taken goal. In all fairness, I think, you know, if you are going to analyse that one, but you know, Villa had, for pretty much 90% of the game dominated this, had countless amounts of shots on goal, have really taken the game to United, which is something that I was really impressed and proud of as well, Dan. And how the players never really gave up until the final whistle. But it's so hard when you're battling that extra 4 or 5 officials, as well as the 11 players who are on the pitch. You're never going to win, mate.
That's what I mean, man. That's what I mean about this weekend, is that there's so much for me that's right up for it. That you know what as I said, it happens every time. And so you're wary of it, to say the least. And it's just like, man, I think the most frustrating thing is that, you know, we're playing in a competition here, mate, or we're not playing in the competition anymore. And perhaps that's what's most upsetting about it. You're playing in a competition where the rules change in different games. So you're playing in a competition whereby the balls come out of a hat and you're allocated your game based on pure chance, we're led to believe. And depending on the number that is drawn out, your game is played under completely different rules to another one, because VAR is only used in Premier League games. So you have, you know, if Villa score that goal tonight against someone, a Kidderminster Harriers, or someone in League Two, or, you know, the other guys that have made it through, it's a goal. How can that be? You know, how can you have a competition where you've got goals that would count in one game but not in another? It's crazy, mate. It's crazy. There needs to be a blanket rule. Either the FA need to get their wallets out and say, right, everyone has VAR past round 3 or round 4 or whatever you want to call it, or there's none in the competition until you get to Wembley, say. Whatever it might be. How can you have a competition where you've got some games with VAR, some games without, and then when you're using it in such a manner whereby they seem so determined? Like I've enjoyed that 4-minute clip that everyone's been putting around the Twitter over the whole search. They try and find so many different reasons to allow it, and I'm like, this isn't what it's supposed to be used for. It's like, honestly, man, there's so much to break down with this, mate. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It is, and 3 minutes and 32 seconds exactly. Now, Dan, you know, being in the stadium, it felt like a fucking hour, you know, that we were waiting for that decision. It as you say, it almost feels like they're just waiting that, like, VAR is being used to take goals away, when in reality it should be used to ensure they stand. Why else do the Linos no longer put that offside flag up anymore, Dan? like straight away? Why is that delay? Because if you put the flag up straight away, you're preventing someone from potentially scoring when they're actually in an onside position. And obviously, you know, the second goal was offside, so that's not something I was just referring to. Just why that rule exists. But yeah, no, it's shocking the fact that so many people. I don't think there is a single person who watched that game who legitimately thought that Manchester United, for one, deserved to win, and two, felt like, you know, Villa weren't hard done by. Everybody, even the Manchester United fans, Dan, even the Manchester United fans, and you will have known walking home, when I was walking back to the car as well. Like, when you leave a ground, there's a buzz, there's an atmosphere, regardless of you know, win, draw or lose. And honestly, mate, I just felt like I was attending a relative's funeral when I was walking home. They knew they'd absolutely robbed us, and they couldn't even enjoy their 1-0 win. That's what is sickening. Everybody knows, yet, you know, we're still robbed of a completely legitimate goal. Now, there are so many lines that get blurred with this. There's you know, contrasting rules. What was said was Jacob Ramsey blocked Cavani, and that is ultimately why the goal was disallowed, because in theory, Cavani could have made it to Ezri Konsa to stop the header from going across to Danny Ings. First of all, Dan, he isn't getting across. He isn't getting across to Ezri. Ezri had a good 5 yards on him, and when Ezri knew where he was going, and it was a case of Cavani following him, you know, Ezri's always going to have that advantage in getting there ahead of him. So there's that for one. Number two, again, another place where it gets confused is the fact that JJ is standing in an offside position and is deemed to have been interfering with play, which again, Jacob is standing there, and people are, you know, as the 3.5 minutes have shown, they're looking for every minute detail, and they're seeing that Ramsey, his foot has moved like a centimetre, and that has qualified as impeding Cavani. So not only is he standing in an offside position, he's actively moved in the way of Cavani in the eyes of VAR, which again is why the goal has been disallowed, which again is complete and utter nonsense, because where are you drawing the lines down on zonal marking? Can you no longer block runs from corners from other set players as well? That's certainly not gonna happen this weekend in the Premier League, Dan, and it certainly won't have happened tonight in Southampton versus Brentford while we're recording this. It's absolutely shocking. There is no clarity with any of these rules. And at first as well, when it was initially sort of given, you know, we're sort of checking online to see what's going on. They're just saying Ramsey blocks Cavani. Like, that's a 3-word description of what's gone on. I'm so like, yeah, what? And as well, can we not forget? Are we completely forgetting that this is a contact sport that we're playing? Like, another thing to mention as well, that it's completely scandalous. There is no convincing me that Cavani's getting it done, and I know you feel the same, mate. It's just absolutely disgraceful.
I think it's ridiculous, because that goes on all the time. Corner kicks, free kicks up and down the country, blocking goes on. You know, Ramsey's there to, you know, he does something which I think if he's in the middle of the pack, doesn't get noticed. It really doesn't. I think it's only because they're isolated and it's away from the ball and everything like that, the call he's got. Ramsey's done something which goes up, you know, if you're going to give that, you have to lock on to every corner kick. You know, if that decision is going to go every time a shirt is pulled, every time a player is touched, every time a player is pushed, every time a player is nudged from you've got to call it, because it's the same thing. And I'm not saying I want that to happen, but, you know, at some point you've got to accept that consistency has to come into play. And it's like, you for me, it's like, look, there are a few things. It's like, I don't want to be coming here and just be biased and spout nonsense all game. I think we had plenty of chances in the first half. We should have scored. You know, like at the end of the day, it always felt like when we were missing those chances, it was going to come back to haunt us. We did enough in the second half to win the game, but, you know, if you're going to take everything away, we should have scored more than we did in the first half. The second point is that I don't think, you know, this whole, you know, you mentioned it until, like, you know, players playing on in potentially offside situations, linesmen keeping their flags down and everything like that. We saw a situation yesterday where the linesman played on after we went through on goal. Lindelof slid into the post, injured himself in the process. And it's like, what is going on, man? What is going on? Like, we've got players, putting themselves in situations where anything could happen. If you've got a player running through a goal, they pull up and do a hammy, or like Lindelof did, they slide into the goalpost or something like that. What is going on? We're playing in situations that may genuinely, A, cause upset for fans if they score a goal and it's later deemed to be offside, and B, players can put themselves into, dangerous situations and injure themselves just for the convenience of the officials. It's ridiculous, mate. Like, there's so much that you can go into with this. And the worst part is you've got David Coote this weekend refereeing the Villa Man United game, who's been a season ticket holder at Old Trafford.
You don't laugh.
What is going on? It's like this guy, like, people have been pulling up his Facebook profile. He's got Old Trafford as the header. It's like, it's relentless, mate. And it's like, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And look, I'm not. There's a problem in La Liga with it. The problem with the standard of officiating. There's a problem with it all over Europe. I think there's one thing having bad officials, but I think what for me it lacks is the transparency. You watch the NBA, and when you get a coach's challenge or a referee's intervention, they stop the game when they're reviewing video footage. They walk over to like the commentator's desk. Obviously, you don't get that privilege in football, but they walk over to a camera and okay, he's done this on this guy. We think that for this reason, this call needs to be given because so-and-so did this, so-and-so did that, and that's our decision. And so with that, I'm not saying I'm not asking for a situation in which referees never get decision wrongs, because I totally get they're human beings and everything like that. But at least if you had the transparency, if you had the referees explain their opinion, it makes it better, because it makes the game easier to access for the people. Like, at the moment, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's being said. And at the end of the day, it's damaging for the game. If there is no corruption in the game, it's damaging to have this talks of like, it's corrupt. The only way to stop that is, I'm not saying referees have to be completely perfect every game, even with VAR, because it's not possible, but you just have the transparency. The referees explaining their decisions. I don't think they need to do it post-match or anything like that. Yeah, I've sort of seen people saying they need to go in with the managers, do it post-match. I don't think that's the answer, but I'm just saying, referees are mic'd up, they're having conversations with Stockley Park, and if there's nothing wrong with those conversations, if they're just talking about the decision, then I think we need to hear them.
Accountability is the main thing, mate, because at the moment, these guys are completely getting away with murder. What's happening? There's so many inconsistencies, and it isn't just the officials. Like, people are complaining about Liverpool filing for the postponement. They get the postponement, and then it comes out that that there were 10 false positives, and there's like a 0.00005 chance of getting one, let alone 10. Like, there is just a complete lack of transparency and accountability throughout the whole game. It's littered with it. It's absolutely disgusting. And listen, I'm not sitting here and saying that Aston Villa are completely void of that. I have a feeling Christian Purslow is, some of the things that we hear and what have gone on in the boardrooms and stuff like that, and hearing his conversation with Simon Jordan on TalkSport about a month ago about how the Premier League are redistributing the wealth down the pyramid. Like, no one is completely like avoiding this sort of criticism. It's littered with it throughout the game, our club, wherever. But it genuinely, it just shocks me so much that we're in a position. It's England, it's the Premier League. It's our thing. It's football. It's what our identities are built upon, and it's a circus. It's a circus. That's all you can say, mate. And again, these referees, all that'll happen is they get 1 or 2 games in the Championship, then they're back up in the Premier League. There is no accountability, and it is a tricky one because, as you say, do you get them in post-match, get them speaking to Jeff Shreves and whatnot and explaining their decisions? I don't think that's the way, but these guys need miking up, and the people at home, at the very least, need to be able to hear what is going on, because it's just absolutely shocking, mate. And if anything, it's given our players and Gerrard the fuel and the motivation to go and get the 3 points on Saturday, Dan. But obviously, I want Villa to win every single game. That's just how it is. But if I had to pick between the two, Dan, it was last night. It was the cup run every day of the week, man. Every day of the week. But I just hope that we can sort of get our just desserts on the weekend, because I mean, seeing Gerrard walk out and stare down the Stretford end, you know, completely and totally unfazed, and to see that sort of trickle down to the players and how they performed as well. Genuinely, Dan, I've not been this proud of the lads in such a long time. Like the performance was fantastic. It's just a shame that the occasion, you know, we took the third round of the FA Cup, Dan. That this is football heritage. This is Aston Villa's. It's entwined in our DNA. The FA Cup. It's a shame that it all marred the occasion, mate.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's one of those where, you know, there's a bit of a hoodoo now, because I don't think we've made it out the third round since 2016. And that's something that needs to be addressed, man. Like, obviously you can't complain, because we have had some brilliant cup runs in that time. You know, we've been to Wembley in the League Cup. It's the FA Cup you want, man. It's the one that all the fans dream of. It's the one that everybody wants to win. You know, it's the League Cup is nothing compared to the FA Cup. And whilst you're delighted with the opportunities we've been to Wembley a lot as a fan base recently, and we can't take that for granted. You know, maybe not in situations which we would have liked. You know, we'd much rather than be cup finals than playoff finals. But the point is the same. But look, it's one of those where we were unlucky, and you sort of have to dust yourself down. And you know what, mate? I think it's testament to Stevie and the boys that, you know, for so many other clubs and managers, and I'm not going to say it would have been a Dino, because we don't know, mate, but like, it's such a psychological battle to pick yourself up after that and just sort of go, when you've put in a performance like that and you deserve to win, and you've come away and you've been robbed. It's a gut punch, man. And it's easy for us as fans to get up for it, but sometimes as players, when it's your hard work, when it's you down there on the pitch, that it can be really difficult to pick yourself up from that. And I do think it's testament to Stevie and the boys that I just don't think that will be the feeling at the club right now. I think the Coutinho announcement is well timed. It will buoy everybody, especially if we get Dino over the line as well. And as I said, when you come out in Villa Park, you know, if Coutinho is playing, if Ronaldo is playing, you know, the atmosphere at that game will be electric. And you know, I really hope we go and get a win, man, because it's the least that we deserve. It really is, especially having put in that performance, like what it would mean for Steve after all the stick he got. It is the least that we deserve, mate. And you know, it's not to take it for granted. They will be a tough game. They always are. But it's one of those where if we go and play like that at home with our fans behind us, surely we can do it, mate.
I mean, the atmosphere is going to be the kind of tipping point, I think, mate, because you know, you can say it as well, mate. I know it was silent. It was completely silent. All you could hear were Villa fans. The home support, if you could even call it that, was a disgrace. It was shocking. Manchester United, the biggest club in the world, allegedly, and they can't even get themselves excited for, you know, a third round FA Cup clash with a phenomenal opponent in Aston Villa. But Dan, I mean, as you say, there's going to be an edge to this game. I'm really looking forward to it. I think, you know, the crowd could become quite hostile towards Manchester United, not Villa, of course. But at the final point as well, while we're talking about things that annoy us, Dan, that, you know, the Watkins Ings debate has come up again, Dan. It's come up again, right? And there's people on a timeline saying they can't play together. This, that. It's absolute, complete and utter fucking nonsense. Danny Ings scored and assisted. Of course, they're both offside. You cannot tell me Danny Ings cannot play in this Villa side when he set up Ollie Watkins and he scored a legitimate goal that was ruled out as well. Honestly, it's complete nonsense. And let's reverse the situation there. Let's swap Danny and Ollie in that situation for the offside goal that was disallowed. Ollie Watkins does not pass that to Danny Ings. That does not happen. So I can't deal with this Danny Ings slander, mate. Honestly, it's aging me. It's aging me.
No, you're absolutely right, mate. You're absolutely right. You know, you got to trust these boys, man. I've got a lot of respect for Danny because I feel like, you know, he was fighting an uphill battle from the start. People telling me he's not this, he's not that, he can't play like this, he's not playing with Ollie. You know, he's come in and fighting an uphill battle, and you really felt like never have I questioned his psychology or who he's playing for. So many players would have gone, all right, fuck this. I'm not. What am I doing here? Like, he's got absolutely nothing to prove. Look at his record before he came to Villa. What has he got to prove to Villa fans? But he's kept growing the whole time, and for him to keep playing for the team, keep putting the work in that he does, and everything like that, he's brilliant. I'm rooting for the man. I bloody love him, mate. I really do, and I think they can work together. Of course, it didn't happen instantly. Of course, it didn't. Ollie's a player that's paid up front for Villa on his own for a long time. Danny's been the main man at Southampton as well. But these guys are Premier League strikers. I don't believe in this whole, he can only play in the one, he can only play in the two. I've said it from the start. I don't believe it, mate. If you're a top level player, you should be able to play in any system. Like, I don't believe there are players making it to the top level of Premier League football only being able to play up front on their own. I just don't believe it. It'll take a bit of work, but I do genuinely. I think that was the best we've seen them play alongside each other yesterday. And I think, to be fair, mate, I think Emi Buendia was excellent as well.
Yeah, fantastic performance from him. I was gutted to see him go off. I think Emi's just so key to playing the Gerrard ball, if we can call it that. The quick, the one touch passes. He's vital in linking the midfield and the forward line, because so often we do see him drop in the half spaces in between. And yeah, Emi, fantastic performance again. And he needs a shout out, because people again have tried to write this man off far too quickly. So Danny Ings, Emi Buendia from the Villa podcast. We hope you're having a wonderful evening. And
indeed,
I think that there should wrap up this episode before we stay on here for another 2 hours, Dan, just screaming at each other about that, because that's doing no one any benefits. But guys,
I feel you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you hit the like button and comment your thoughts below. As well, make sure you check out One Football. It is the perfect place and the best place, the only place for you to get all of your football, and specifically Aston Villa news. Check it out with the first link in the description. And as well, don't forget to subscribe. We're so close to 5K. I think we're like 10 or 15 off, Dan. So
this could be the video, mate. Let's hope.
We have an away shirt. Coutinho's squad number has just been announced. The shirt could be yours. All you've got to do is sort of print it. That is, and that's so easy. We've covered the large expense for you guys. So make sure you subscribe. Get us to 5K. It would truly mean the most. Up the Villa.